Like, I just try to mix up the ingredients as Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video, I'm gonna be going over a few more of the most asked questions I received. I already have one video that I will link below with the 3 most asked questions that I received, but today I'm going over actually 4 questions that I receive a ton, and I kind of just want to go into detail about my answers based on my weight loss journey. So everything's based off my experience and what's worked for me on my journey, and that's what's important for you, is that you find what works for you. So hopefully you can get some helpful tips and maybe some things that'll work for you, but just remember that you have to adjust to your lifestyle and you have to do the things that work for you. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get started with the first thing I want to talk about, which is gas pains and bloating. So, and this is like a subject people don't like to talk about, and I feel like before I'd even be almost more embarrassed to talk about it, but because I see how common it is, so many people are constantly asking about it. So many people are constantly making jokes about Fiber One bars, making them bloated or gassy and stuff. And like, I don't know, it's just been easier to get more comfortable talking about it because it is just so normal. Yeah, when I changed my lifestyle and started eating healthier and more fruits and vegetables and fiber, it affected my digestion, it affected my bloating, and obviously I had like bloating and I had like different stomach issues before when I was eating fast food for every meal. Now it was more just like, it was mostly just like gas pains, I guess I would describe it as. It was a lot of bloating. But anyway, I have a few tips that I have really used to help me deal with this because it is uncomfortable. And when you're working so hard and you're making these changes and you're losing weight and then you feel bloated and you feel like you haven't made progress, those are the toughest mental times for me, is when I feel like I'm working hard and then my stomach is like bloated with gas. And obviously that's all it is, but it's hard not to let it get to you mentally. That's something I've definitely had to deal with on this journey. But what I was gonna say, so the first most important thing to do to help with bloating and your digestion and gas pains is water. Drink your water. I'm not kidding. The days that I drink my full amount of water I need to be drinking are like, it's like night and day to the days that I don't drink my water. It's amazing how much better I feel when I get my water in. And I feel like my answer to almost every question, first thing, is always like water. It's always water because it helps so much. So make sure you're getting your water. I have this Brita water bottle that I freaking love because it filters as you drink it. So you can fill it anywhere and then you just drink through the straw and it filters it. So I love this thing to death. I also have my half-gallon water bottle that I love to use. I don't have it right now, but that's something that's really helped me stay on track. But this one especially makes a huge difference. So that's one thing. Another thing that I have done is, and I've mentioned this many times, is I started taking greens. And originally I started out taking the brand from Sam's Club, which was like $20 for a container. I didn't want to spend more on these, but I tried them once and I haven't been able to go back because they have made just the most difference for me. And just helping like feel like I have like that flat stomach feeling, and like, I don't know, they do so much to help with my digestion. And a lot of times, like if I drink the night before or something and I wake up feeling like garbage, the first thing I want to do is to drink my greens. The routine of drinking them helps me so much, and it helps me drink another glass of water with it. I'm also putting it in water. So the whole thing has just helped me so much. And I highly recommend these. If it's not something you have to do, but it is something that has helped me personally on my journey. So I recommend it. But another thing I've done is, and you can see because I only have 2 left, Gas X. And obviously don't rely on Gas X. When I was in high school, I was eating a few Fiber One bars a day, not knowing what they would do to me. So then I was also eating Gas X almost every day because I didn't know what the bars were doing. But now that I do know that, it's just always good to have Gas X on hand. Sometimes I do get like painful, sharp gas bloating pains, and that's when I go to the Gas X. Like I said, I'm not taking it a ton, but it is something on this journey that I have found helps me a lot, and so that is something I recommend. Another thing I'm just kind of careful about, again, I really like broccoli and cabbage and Brussels sprouts, but those make you extremely gassy. So days that I have those, same with even like beans, I like to either have a Gas X right after so I'm kind of ready for it, or just drink my water. Stay on top of drinking water when I'm going to be eating those types of vegetables, because it's still something I like to incorporate. I still love eating them, but they do affect me. So just be aware of what you're eating, really. The last thing I want to say about gas pains and bloating that have really helped me, and shout out to my friend Becca for this one because she told me this a while ago and it has changed so much, because there are times where you like get that sharp pain or that sharp bloating and all you have to do is stretch, get on the ground. And a lot of times I like to just lay flat on my stomach or like kind of hunch up in a ball. You can even look online. I can even leave a link below about some different stretches I like to do, but the best one is to just lay on your left side and you will like feel relief instantly. It is great. So I highly recommend stretching. I think that's something that people don't think about, and I can't believe the difference it's made. So many times I'm like, I'll be somewhere and I have sharp gas pains or something. I'm like, I just want to get home so I could lay down and stretch because it feels great. So again, that's just a few things that have really helped me with my bloating and gas pains. I know probably not fun to talk about, but it's something that everyone deals with on their weight loss journey, especially when you're making huge changes that you're not used to eating, like vegetables and fruits like that. So those are my tips for that. The next question that I get asked is about sugar-free products, and I really don't have too much to say about this other than when I first started out my WW journey, I did notice that the community and a lot of it is just because people get excited finding new products and stuff, but it's a lot of processed or sugar-free foods that are promoted because they are low point, and a lot of times those aren't always better. Just like a lot of times gluten-free products are not better for you, especially if you don't require a gluten-free diet. A lot of times these sugar-free products are just loaded with other like chemicals and other sugars that they're not good for you. So in the beginning, we were buying like everything sugar-free that we could find. We were just searching for sugar-free products all the time. And I kind of started to realize that they didn't make me feel the best. Some of them, some were okay, some weren't. But once I kind of started realizing that, even like the fat-free cheese kind of made me feel a little iffy, I kind of started to shift my focus more back on getting like whole foods in my diet and not so much like the full fat options or the full sugar options, and then just watching portions instead, because there were a few products that were giving me like some stomach pains and it just wasn't worth it. So there are a few sugar-free products I use. I still use my no sugar added barbecue sauce. We like to get like the Jello or pudding cups. Sometimes I get whipped cream that's sugar-free, applesauce, and then some candies. But other than that, I really try to avoid it. Even like a lot of the sauces I get, we would get like some sugar-free, like I don't remember what brand it is, but it was like a barbecue sauce and it just made me feel sick. And so those kind of things, even like the Quest protein bars, something about the sugar in them, that like it being the fake sugar, just doesn't make me feel great. So again, like I said, it started out like we were searching for them, but then we kind of realized, okay, maybe this isn't always a better option. Maybe we can still incorporate the regular things we like, and just remember that it's about balance and be mindful. So that's my opinion on sugar-free products. I don't cut them out of my diet, but I also try to limit them in a way. So I don't think they're terrible. I think there are some really good options that have helped me accomplish my goals by keeping my points lower, but something to be mindful about. The next thing I want to talk about is hitting a plateau. So there have been a few times along the way that I have hit a plateau, and I mean, even from the beginning of the journey, I was losing way more every week than I am now. Now I average even less than a pound a week loss, but that's fine, and I'm used to that. It makes sense. When I hit a plateau, there are a few things that I really focus on. And again, the most important thing when I have a week of the same weight or a gain, or I have a few weeks of just not seeing the scale move, drink water. Focus on water. It helps so much. It just keeps you regulated. It keeps you feeling healthy. It keeps you on track. For me, when I'm drinking my water, I do a better job making food choices. It's just crazy because I feel like I'm so on top of everything and it just feels good to drink my water. So that's something that I always focus on and tell people to focus on right away if they've hit a plateau. Another thing is eating my weeklies. And this was something I was scared about in the beginning because I thought if I ate my weeklies, I wasn't going to lose weight. But I have found that when I eat my weeklies, I actually do get out of a plateau. I think it's important to kind of boost your metabolism by actually getting more points in. So I think having that one, I guess you would call like a cheat meal every once in a while, or just a higher point meal to kind of like spike your normal everyday like food. I don't know, it just kind of mixes things up for your body, and I think it really helps you boost your metabolism and keep losing weight. So that also goes along with like if someone hits a plateau, I also wonder like, are you having the same things every day? Because your body does start to get used to the same foods, and and then it knows how to digest them, it knows how to break them down, you're not going to lose the weight you did before because your metabolism's slowing down. And so what I like to do is I like to mix up my meals I'm making. So obviously with dinners, I'm always trying to do different things, but in the beginning, I was having a wrap every single day, a chicken wrap for lunch. And I realized like I should probably change it up because I was having the same breakfast, the same lunch every single day. So now I've started to incorporate more like rice bowls where I put a rice and just like a ton of different toppings in it. Those are super filling for me. I try to have sandwiches instead of just wraps. I'm just trying to mix up the ingredients that I'm using so that I'm helping to boost my metabolism and kind of like tricking my system, showing different things. So it does make a difference when it comes to your metabolism, and it can help you when you hit a plateau. And along with that, switching up the foods we eat, I like to switch where I shop. So there are a few stores that I go like supplemental groceries, like I said, like Trader Joe's or sometimes even like Aldi. I don't do like my full shopping there, but then the places I'll do my main grocery shopping, Walmart, Target, Meijer, Woodman, those places I switch out every few weeks because then I'm buying different, even if it's just buying different brands, I'm buying different products. And I really think that that has helped me mix up my diet. It's helped me to get out of plateaus, and it's helped me to just keep my metabolism working. So that's another thing I recommend is instead of just like mixing up the foods, also change up the store you go to. It actually makes it easier to find different foods and it makes it more fun. So that's something I recommend. And then the last thing, when I hit a plateau, because it can be such a mental thing, I stay away from the scale. So if I'm having a week or two where I'm just not seeing a loss or I'm seeing gains, I first of all do not weigh myself throughout that week because then I just get in my head mentally. And if I keep seeing that I'm like staying at that number or something and it wasn't just like a fluke thing, then I get even more in my head. So I really, when I hit a plateau, I get away from the scale a little bit and I focus a little bit more on my progress pictures. Those, I still take at least one progress picture every single week of my journey. And when I'm stuck, those have saved me. They have saved my mental health. They have just made me feel so much better about things that I was unsure about or things that I maybe couldn't see when I look in the mirror. But even to be able to like show someone and have them say, oh, wow, that's like, this is different. This is different. Like to see the progress that I've made in the pictures helps so much, especially when I hit a plateau, because it is hard on you mentally. It really is. That is probably the most challenging part about weight loss. And so I think that having the pictures, staying away from the scale, it helps my mental health and maybe it'll help you as well. So that is how I deal with hitting a plateau. Okay, then the last question that I get all the time, and this is more specific to me, but you might be around foods that are not the greatest, that are tempting all the time as well. You might work in a place where there's food like I used to. I mean, I still do, but all my previous jobs are in the food industry. So I've always been around food that has been like in my face, tempting me. So that still is something that I'm dealing with, running a home bakery. And I even have two of my favorites. So these are my two weaknesses that I make. Like I do mostly cakes and cookies. I do cake pops. I do Rice Krispies, pretzels, all that kind of stuff. But my two weaknesses are my chocolate cookies as well as vanilla cake pops. So these are two things that when I make them, I make sure that I have one for myself because I think that that has helped me tremendously when it comes to being able to maintain this weight loss as well as my baking business. So I make sure that I don't restrict myself. If I want one of my desserts, I'm gonna eat it. I don't have the biggest sweet tooth, and I think part of it is because I'm constantly like tasting stuff and I'm just always around it. I prefer savory foods. I guess I've always been that way, but it still is tempting for me. I still love chocolate. I still love sweets. So one thing that I did in the beginning when I started WW is I took a lot of the stuff that I made and I found out the points for how much it really is. How many points is really one sugar cookie that I'm making? How many points is one cake pop? So this one cake pop is 9 smart points, and that's a lot if I'm having it every day, but it's also something that I can work into my weeklies. So I probably would say I treat myself to something I make like 1 to 2 times a week. Obviously, I like to taste it to make sure that everything's up to standard and stuff. So I am taste testing a lot, but again, that's very small amounts. And I also use Adam as my taste tester for that. So that helps me. Seeing how high point some of the treats really are opened my eyes so much to how mindful I need to be, how I can have a balanced diet with them, but also not go over the top. So that was really eye-opening. That really helped me, is just to get an idea of like really how many points everything is. And then what I did is in the beginning especially, and I still do this, but I'm not the best at it, I tracked everything I put in my mouth. So if I was going to eat the cake pop, I had to track it. And so I had to make a decision, like, is it worth it? Do I really want to track this? Do I want to track this so that I can't eat more snacks later or something? Or I would be able to like talk talk it through in my head like, well, actually, I'd rather have some chicken fingers later than this cake pop because I know that that'll fill me. Something like that. So I was able to really like look at if it was worth it or not to eat the points. And I think that's helped me a lot because a lot of times I just find that it's not worth it for me because I don't feel the best when I eat it. And I don't know, I'd rather have other more filling things. Another thing is that when I'm working on cookies and when I'm around baked goods, because I'm around them, I'm working on them for hours and it is hard if I'm hungry. So I do make sure that I'm drinking my water and eating my food throughout the day when it's a work day and I'm working on stuff, because it will be more tempting if I'm sitting there hungry. It's like going to the grocery store hungry. So if I'm sitting with a bunch of desserts in front of me and I'm hungry, I'm going to be more tempted to eat them. So I just make sure to really have protein filled snacks throughout the day. If I'm hungry, I stop working and I eat something. So those are the things that I've really done to be able to balance weight loss with running a baking business. Like I said, I don't restrict myself. It's about balance. I'm going to eat this cake pop after I finish filming this. It's just about what's sustainable for you. And my baking business isn't going anywhere. So I had to find a way to make it work. And this has worked for me. Okay. So that wraps up those questions. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram. I'm always excited to help out with whatever I can and give whatever information I can that's worked for me. So please go ahead and leave a like and a comment, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.